Today I'm doing a pulled pork barbecue with a twist on my dad's vinegar-based sauce. So I'm gonna start with the sauce for this barbecue. So the first thing I gotta do is puree about a cup of onions. And to puree onions, you just needed to add a little bit of water. About 1/4 of a cup of water. There. Basically liquefying the onions. And then we're gonna cook these down. I'm gonna just saute these on the top of the stove until I cook out most of this water. There's a couple of cups of apple cider vinegar, and then he always put tomato juice in his instead of tomatoes in the sauce, about 6 ounces. You can just eyeball it. A little dash of pepper in here, a little dash of cayenne, and a dash, because I also put a little hot sauce in here, so I do the double whammy on the hot stuff. So if you do more than a dash, you could end up needing a gallon of water handy. And then about a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'll let that come to a boil. The cool thing is that it's a slow cooker pork. Once you get the pork rubbed and you get your onions in the pot, you just put it back on your slow cooker and it cooks for 10 to 12 hours. So I'm just gonna quarter 2 medium-sized sweet onions, and they'll just go in the bottom of the slow cooker. And then we're gonna do a really simple rub for the Boston butt. So it's just a couple teaspoons of light brown sugar, a couple of teaspoons of salt, pinch of pepper, and I use about a teaspoon of the smoked paprika. And this is really cool. It gives it a really nice smoky flavor. This is a 5-pound Boston butt, which is basically a pork shoulder. Pork shoulder is really good to use because you can't overcook it. And the great thing about pulled pork is you really do want it to fall off the bone. So this is a bone-in Boston butt. So here's the little rub that I did earlier, and you want to just try to get it into all the little nooks and crannies that you can. You can really work this into the meat, and then you don't have red paprika hands for the rest of the day. So that looks good to me. It looks completely covered. So now I'm going to just stick this on the top of the onions in here. And voila. We're not even dirty. The sauce is boiling, which is what you want, so it's done. I'm gonna put a teaspoon of sugar in here, but you wanna do that after you've turned off the heat. And then we're gonna take a cup of this sauce and pour it over the pork, and then you can just let the rest of this cool and save it for extra sauce. I'm gonna pour a cup of this over, and then we're just gonna put this on the slow cooker, and I'm gonna set it for 10 hours, and I'm gonna check it and see what it's looking like after that. It's the moment of truth, you know, when you open the lid to the slow cooker and you pull that pork out, and if it falls off the bone and falls back into the pot, you're like, this is really good. What I do, when it's this tender, you just kind of take the fork and just kind of start piecing it apart. I save some of the juice from the slow cooker for the pork, and so I'm just gonna pour a little extra on here just to keep it really nice and moist. This is gonna make a really great pulled pork sandwich with that nice little vinegary sweet taste.